Last week, on April 23rd, 2021, the IRS Commissioner, Chuck Rettig, released a statement that was 14 pages long on closing the income tax gap. Now, this is very concerning to me, and it should be concerning for those of you that currently owe the IRS. So in this video, I'll let you know about his statement, what the income tax gap is, and why you too should be concerned. But before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Timolyn Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. I'm also the owner of Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions, a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky that specializes in resolving taxpayers' IRS issues. So before I get to this statement that was made, let me first answer the question, what is the income tax gap? So the income tax gap is an estimate of how much was actually paid in taxes during a tax year versus how much should have been paid. So what it helps the IRS measure is how much money and revenue is being brought in or lost rather due to taxpayers not being compliant. So there are estimates each year on the revenue that the government should be generating based on taxpayers paying taxes. This tax gap lets us know, an estimate of course, how much isn't actually being paid. So I don't have his statement memorized, and I'm not going to read the 14 pages to you, but I just want to share a piece of, again, this is the IRS Commissioner Chuck Rettig, what he said. He said, reducing the tax gap and improving compliance is a central part of the IRS mission. And if you don't know the IRS mission, here it is. To provide America's taxpayers top quality service by helping them understand and meet their tax responsibilities and enforce the law with integrity and fairness to all. Now, I'm sure the main part that most of us know is the enforce part. But he goes on to say, our mission statement reflects our values. We put service first, making it easier for Americans to understand and satisfy their tax obligations as the most important thing the IRS can do to affect the tax gap. And I must say, over the years, this is my 10th year in the industry, the IRS has indeed made things easier for taxpayers to be able to fulfill their tax obligations. But the next part of his statement, which is what most of us are familiar with, whether we've experienced it personally or we've just heard about it, the IRS will also, however, enforce the tax laws against those who choose not to voluntarily fulfill their responsibilities. In layman's terms, if you are refusing to pay your taxes, to file your taxes, the IRS will use its authority to enforce collection on you. Our enforcement efforts serve taxpayers generally. I don't know who is served by getting that enforcement. I guess those of us reaping from different government things that are funded by the money, right? Indeed, our enforcement efforts serve taxpayers generally, the vast majority of whom want to comply with their tax obligations by legitimizing that choice and giving them comfort that we support them and will aggressively enforce the laws against those who do not pay their fair share. In this regard, our enforcement efforts support compliant taxpayers and a fair and equitable tax system. Now, if you want to read all 14 pages of his statement, I will include a link down below, but this is concerning to me. So they do this study to estimate the tax gap routinely. It's not something that's done every year. We'll probably have one coming up because the last one was released in 2019 and it was for the tax years, I believe 2012 through 2014. Yes or no, it was tax years 2011 through 2013. So what was collected from 2012 to 2014. Well, what it revealed was there was a tax gap of $441 billion. That is nuts. So what that tells them is there's $441 billion of revenue that the government is missing out on because there are taxpayers refusing to be tax compliant. Now, after collection notices and those things were sent out, I believe it was reduced to about 381 billion, 386. Don't quote me on that number. Billion. So it did come down. So we see about 82 to 83% of taxpayers are being compliant. But I want you to think with me. It's 2021. We are hopefully coming out of a pandemic. Think of all of the funds that the government has been putting out. Taxes are the main source of revenue for our government. So if all of this money has been going out, it has to come back in some way. So if you are part of that tax gap and contributing to that money that's being lost due to noncompliance, I want to strongly urge you, please get your tax returns filed promptly. If you do owe and you can't pay it in full, there are options where you can settle that with the IRS, whether it be making a payment arrangement, whether it be maybe you don't have any income coming in, get some type of understanding set up with them. Maybe it's currently non-collectible, where you have a year to kind of get yourself together and they don't put out any enforcement activities to you. Because the last thing that I would want to see for you is the IRS to do these enforcement actions because they're the most aggressive creditor known in the country. You're essentially messing with the government mob. You don't want to be out there and be on the other side of their collection activities. So, if you still need to file your tax returns, get that done promptly. If you know that you can't pay in full, I'd love to connect with you to see if my team's a good fit to help you out with that. You can book a call with us at www.bowenstaxsolutions.com. Now, maybe this doesn't affect you personally, but you have loved ones or friends that you know haven't filed their tax returns. If you're on YouTube, I need you to like this video, subscribe, and share it out with them. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, I need you to give me that heart and share this out with other people as well. Let them know that you learned something new today. Like I mentioned before, I'd love to set up a call to see if me and my team are a good fit to work with you, but you have to take that first step and book that call.